and Jesse. We've come with a very interesting topic. Hope everyone outside there, you're going to enjoy this. Sit down, just listen. Listen and pick out for yourself. Hope this will help you out there where you are. Jesse and TRINAH, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. You can also introduce yourselves.
Well, my name is John Jesse Nabondesi. I'm a member of the Youth Advisory Committee of the SRHR Alliance of Uganda, and I'm happy to be here to share information on menstrual health today with the people of Fort Poto. Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Yikpamungu TRINAH. I'm Youth Advisory Committee member from the SRHR Alliance representing UNIPA. I'm so happy to be here. I hope you learned something from what I'm going to share.
Okay, that's nice. So I hope you've heard them. Those people who are outside there, I know you're from work, you're very tired, you need to rest. So I know what you're doing. Thank you so much. And those who are hustling, working, you know me, like people who work, like this young generation of ours, you need to work. Don't take everything for granted. Work for yourself, everything you feel like you should have. Like how we always tell you guys, work hard. Nora, like these guys here, no Varora, no hura, no venda, but it's because of their hard working. That's why they are also here. Because if they were not hard working, they wouldn't be here this time. So, nimba encouraging amuno today we've come with a topic, menstrual hygiene management. What menstrual hygiene management is all about. But someone outside there is asking him or herself, what's menstrual hygiene? What's menstrual hygiene? So at least then
Thank you very much. I'll take you through what menstrual health hygiene management is. Basically, it's how do young women and girls manage to maintain hygiene when they're in their periods? How do they dispose of their used pads? How do you have a private space to change your pad, because you cannot stay with the same pad always, and it's always advised that you change all the time. So it's very important that young girls understand that this is a very important topic. And we all know that at a certain age, because average, young girls start seeing their periods from, let me just say 9 to 15, their first periods, that's that age range. So most young girls, luckily most girls have this information, but then we still have young girls who do not know how to manage it when they see it the first time.
Like those in the villages.
Especially those in the villages. So it's a very important topic in that menstruation is a very sensitive state, because we are talking about your private parts. How do you keep them? How do you prevent them from getting infections? Because in menstrual health management, we look at things like ensuring that you eat well, ensuring that you keep your private parts clean in that moment, because you're releasing blood, which is cleansing your body. And young girls should not be ashamed about menstrual health. It's very normal and it's very healthy. And if you're a young girl and you're between the age range of 10 to 15 and you haven't yet seen your periods, you'll be a little bit patient, but you must see your periods. It's a sign that you can actually,
you're a real woman.
You're a real woman. So you should be proud of it. So we look at things like wearing cotton panties. It's very important because that's healthy. You must drink a lot because you're going to feel funny pain in your stomach. It's so painful. But we have over-the-counter painkillers, You can also do hot water. It's the best actually, because painkillers might have further side effects if you overtake them. So make sure whenever you're disposing of your pads, young girls, women out there, make sure that people don't see your blood. It's not good at all. You either wrap it in a toilet paper or in a newspaper, then you dispose it off somewhere in a rubbish bin, not in the open space, not in a toilet, a flush toilet. If you have a pit latrine, well and good, but it cannot go down flush toilets. And it's avoid scented soaps and toilet paper. These are not good for you, because some of these things can actually cause you long-term illnesses such as cancer. And we all know what cancer is doing to people. It's something that's incurable, though we have lucky survivors, but you also look at the expenses of treating such a disease. So make sure you keep your genitals clean as a young girl. And it's also important that you check with a medical health worker to ensure that you're healthy, most especially in cases where you see there is too much cramp, pain, maybe let's say there is too much blood, too much flow, funny things, like at least every after 2 months see a doctor if possible. And wash your hands. Like if you're going to handle a pad and your panty, you need to make sure that you avoid any contact with any possible germs, because these parts of us as women are very sensitive and they collect a lot. So if you're a young lady and you're having your menstrual periods, ensure to keep clean 24/7 and avoid staying with your pads for a long time. It's very wrong, because it's not nice. You start smelling for people. So I advise you to change maybe after, let's say, the maximum should be after 8 hours.
A day, like how many times?
Twice, or if you can, thrice. We also have other absorbing materials such as tampoons. It's a small cotton-like thing. You fix it inside there to absorb the blood. Not many people fear using it because they think it might take away their virginity, but it's actually a good absorbent. We have menstrual cups. It's a cup, you just fix it there. When it's full, you remove and you wash it clean, and you can reuse it
Again.
But then if for scenarios where you're in the village, I know sometimes it's expensive to buy yourself sanitary pads. You can improvise with a cotton cloth. It must be as clean as possible, and once it's full, remove it and you put another clean cotton cloth. Yes.
But in the villages, it's very hard. Those guys, they are going through a lot.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. In cases of, because we know on average, a normal pad should be on a standard price of 3,000. But not everyone can afford that, because a pack can have like around 7, and you need to use 3
A day.
every day. And some girls go for 5 days, and in 5 days you have to use 3. So some people fail to afford sanitary pads. But the alternative of using a clean cotton cloth, it's a good absorbent, it's a good idea. Make sure you learn how to fold those things and put them under your panties so that you don't have to stain your clothes. And
so for those at school,
yes,
because you can go, you can go like in the morning till evening.
Then I'd suggest that if you're at school, I want to think that schools have, let me say, a toilet and water. So if you can, wash as much as you can. Wash yourself as much as you can. Wash yourself so that you keep clean. Yes.
Okay.
I just want to add a few things to what my colleague has been talking about, describing to us about menstrual hygiene management. I just want to leave the viewers with three things. Number one, when we talk about menstrual hygiene management, what comes to your mind? What should come to your mind is young girls and women being able to access menstrual products and services. Young women and girls being able to change the used menstrual products privately. And thirdly, being able to dispose of these used products during their menstruation. So I just want to leave you with those three things before we actually delve into the discussions, before we get deeper into the discussions. Because the three things, accessing the services and the information, are very important, because actually not only young girls need to access the information, everyone in the community needs to access the information. But then this young girl during her periods needs to have support from these community members who have the information, so that they are able to access the menstrual products. Okay. After accessing them, they use them well, following the information that they have, and after that they can be able to change them privately and dispose of the used one safely in incinerators, or actually latrines is not okay because latrines get full.
They do.
Latrines get full. So at least if you could, at the end of your periods, you could get out, and maybe when everyone is inside the house and maybe they are not seeing you, you just go out after drying your pads very well and you burn them. At the end of the 5 days, you just burn those pads. If there is no incinerator where you are, that would be very okay. That would be a very okay way of disposing of these products. Okay. We also have reusable products. Reusable products, reusable pads, and these are easy to make. We shall continue educating young women and girls on how to do these things. I am very sure very soon we shall be reaching everyone in the community.
Okay, that's
Thank
nice.
you.
Okay. So you've been talking about waiting for 5 days, then you burn. According to me, those pads, the way how they smell, actually the blood, not even the pads, that blood, the way how it smells, when you keep it like for 1 day, my God, you can't even go where you've kept it. So for those who are supposed like to burn, what is the best way, over the best place where they can at least put those pads, then afterwards they go and burn? Not inside, because some of them you find they've kept the pads inside with blood.
One of the disposal strategies is every time when you remove this pad, you don't just leave it. You don't just remove it and dump it open. You roll it well. If you have toilet paper, you roll it in toilet paper as much as you can. Or if you don't have toilet paper, use papers. But make sure that when someone sees it, it doesn't look like a pad. Let it look like a thrown paper. So we all have access to polythene bags. So you put it outside. But every time you roll it in a paper or toilet paper, you put it in that cavera. So keep it outside home. If you can get maybe a cut jerry can, or if you can afford a trash can, you put those things every day. When you finish your period, you keep it, and you keep it in that trash can or polythene bag outside the house because they can really smell. And the other advantage with wrapping them in paper or toilet paper, when they dry, they easily burn. Because for it to burn fully, it must have some papers, some dry leaves, so it makes it easier for you to burn. But after keeping it for some time, because if you burn them when they are wet, they will not burn, and everyone will know that you're burning pads. Who wants you? Now I wouldn't want my blood to be seen by other people. It's very embarrassing. So that's one other strategy. Some people, if you can afford, some people actually buy paraffin. You know, paraffin is highly flammable. So if you can afford, you buy paraffin and you burn those pads. Make sure that they do not remain in the trash can. At least if they are to remain, let them be black. But if it's again white, so that everyone will know that those are pads. Yeah. And we are lucky that if you cannot, if you don't have probably time to burn them, you tie them all in one kavera and put them in a trash can where you know, because I want to think that government has tried to make available garbage collecting services. So you tie it very well. When the garbage man comes, they usually come in big cars. You dump it there. Wherever it will go, God knows, as long as it's not clean.
So isn't it risky?
It's not risky because it's going to be mixed with thousands of rubbish that's collected in the community. Because me at my home, it's KCCA that collects. So it's usually on a weekly, after 3 weeks, they come in a month, they come and collect all the garbage. You just put it in the rest of the garbage, they carry the sack, they go. Who's going to check for your pads?
No one.
No one. So there are very many tricks of disposing, but I would advise young girls, young women, that make sure that you dispose of your pads properly. It's a sign of being responsible and being responsible, yes, because it's so annoying when you go to a toilet and you find a young girl has thrown a pad there, and it's not nice at all. So as responsible young women who tomorrow are going to be mothers, make sure that you dispose your used pads properly.
Okay, so that's nice. So there are very many young girls outside there who, when they are in periods, they even fear to move or to go to school just because of boys. They will laugh at them.
I actually have a story to that myself. A lived experience, you know. I'm a young boy. Well, I'm very sure some of the men out there watching me now are actually thinking that what is this young man doing? What is he doing at the TV station, talking about things of women and girls? You know? But we all need to actually know this information. As I said earlier, this young girl, your daughter, your wife, who is going through menstruation, needs a supportive environment. And where is it going to come from? From the father, from the husband, from the brother, you know? When I was still a young man, when I was still a young boy, I remember there is a time I was playing cards with my elder sister. And then we were seated on the veranda, and then she stood up at the end of the game, and she saw blood behind her dress. She said, "Hey, see, I have blood." I actually first got scared. I thought maybe something had cut her. Then I yelled, like I screamed, calling my mom that Yeri is bleeding. So when my mom came, she just chased me away. that no, you first go. Because I'm very sure the way my sister looked, she was also surprised about what was going on. This is because she didn't have the information. You know, they teach us these things of reproduction when we are in P6, only reproduction. But they actually don't teach us how we interact with them in the communities. They teach you that, okay, at this age, a girl is going to menstruate. They're not going to tell you that when they menstruate, as a boy, you need to do this, this and this, in order to show support. You know? As maybe a girl, you need to do this to your fellow girl who is menstruating in order to show support. Because stigma and discrimination is a very big issue in our communities. It makes these girls, these young girls, feel like as if whatever they are going through is actually wrong, and yet it's normal. You know, and yet it is normal. So, from the experience I got when I was still young, I got into the sexual and reproductive health space after knowing this information. I really felt that whatever went on was very wrong. I was supposed to actually show that I was empathetic to my sister. I was supposed to show support. I was actually not supposed to laugh at her because I did.
You even laughed at
I even laughed at her when they chased me away. Yes, I laughed at her. Yeah, when I called my mom, it was as if I was just reporting her because my mom was a nurse, so I thought they were going to put spirit. You know, when we were still young, we would get wounds and we hide away from our parents because we don't want spirit. You know. But then I just feel like we need to create a supportive environment. Everyone needs to know about menstrual health, about these issues that are actually normal.
Because it's for everyone.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Maybe also to add on, you see how sometimes we have young girls and young ladies out there who do not know how to read their menstrual cycle. But if you know about the menstrual cycle, like it's how you know when you're going to have your next period. So sometimes you find it attacks them and they do not know. And what I'm trying to say is, if you are a man out there and you should take the initiative to also help. If you know that you're going in a space where you're going to meet very many young ladies, young girls, endeavor to at least carry 1 or 2 pads. Yeah, and if you actually, for men who have girlfriends, you can, when she comes to your home, you endeavor to make sure that there are pads in her home, in your home, so that if it gets her and she's with you, there is already first aid for her condition. So we need to have young boys and young men involved because menstruation should be embraced because it's very normal and it is healthy. It's not a curse or anything. I know back then in the Bible they would say that women who would go into menstruation were unclean, but it's something you cannot control, and you have to go through it because you are a woman. And if you do not go through it, again, it's a problem. That means that you have high chances of never giving birth.
Some people say that they are bewitched.
They are bewitched. And we all know in community that children are very important. Before you try being a woman and you get married without children, and you see how you suffer. But menstruation proves that you are capable of having children. So young men and women need to embrace menstruation and should not stigmatize these young ladies. Because this condition comes and you cannot control it, and the best thing you need is a support circle, not a circle that's going to discriminate you or isolate you. So men should really embrace menstruation. Yes.
Wow, that's nice. So let's first go in a commercial break, then we come back with the second.
Chinayu chinumira. Whether it is Katogo, Chikomando, Rolex Majasa to Nyanyambisi. Man, wherever I am, I enjoy Chinayu with your TV channels on my phone.
Enjoy a new world of entertainment with over 80 TV and radio channels, plus movies from wherever you are. Download the Yo TV Channels app from your app.
Adier kogere hafoti TV butosa ngira programu y'ekyoto enganzi yabona abantu bona bagitaga muno ekyoto kitandika saa 10 kugarukira 12 kichweka ezarwe badyo kandi abose turaliza abose babuli mulingo kwiza kwota neitwe nuko tusobole kwega kumanya kwetegereza engeso emitwalize ya toro neha.
Stay entertained. Fort TV, stay entertained.
Okay, welcome back from the commercial break. Let me read some comments. Read some comments, then we proceed. Arita Hugs is saying that crazy. So Etienne Musana is saying, on the issue of the community, not all communities have to be chosen. I think there should be a target group from young to the old to avoid stigma, mostly in the beginners. Okay, so has again said, thanks for the program, guys. Really waiting for 5 days leads to attraction of microorganisms and their multiplication, which can incubate into an infection or disease. This calls for daily banning or disposing of immediately following IPC procedures. And then Rita Hugs, why not throw it in the toilet? Why not throw it in the toilet? Guys, it is very hard to ban it. Okay, so Rita Hugs, Mariam Asia, as we are still proceeding with our program and this topic, I think you can explain more for people to understand this.
Okay, well, I'll just speak a few things responding to the comments. Well, I'll start with the person talking about banning every single day.
Yeah.
You know, we are different people actually. If you can ban every single day, it is okay. You've had someone saying that it is difficult banning.
Yeah.
So they are choosing to what? they are choosing to throw in the toilet, which is going to either block or the latrine getting filled up. You know that latrines get filled up, and they go through processes to do what? To create space again. But if you store these pads following the procedures my colleague talked about, you first dry them, you know, not leaving them there and then they dry. No, there is a way you fold them. There is a way you fold them, and then you keep them safely in a place where you know that your children won't reach. You actually don't go to that place all the time to avoid getting into contact with those infections or microorganisms. You know, and then you try. That is why I said that you wait for it when maybe it is around 8 or 9 in the night when your neighbors have gone inside the house, and then you take out the cavera. You know, after putting in one pad, you tie the cavera very well.
You put it
somewhere in a corner where you know no one is actually going to reach.
Maybe the dogs.
No.
Even the dogs cannot eat somewhere that's so smelly. And then I said earlier, okay, they can.
You know?
As I mentioned earlier, you can get we have these jerry cans that you know no one is going to use. Maybe they have holes in them, so it can no longer contain water. If you can cut off the top, and you, after tying the pads in a cavera, every time you use, you fold in a paper, like I said, you tie in a cavera and you put in that jerry can and cover with the top that you cut off. And you put it outside in a corner where no one will go. Then when you feel like here they have overstayed, and make sure water does not, like rain, does not hit them, because it will make the process long. That's why you should tie it in a cavera always. So once you know that they are dry, you burn them. Because you cannot burn a pad on the first day. It's a bit wet and it will not burn at all. You know how difficult those things are. So you have to be strategic enough. Because honestly, when you dry them in that process, you can find that they can actually burn. Yes.
So there are these ladies, for them when they are in periods, they use soap to clean themselves. Is it right?
No.
It is actually not right to use scented soap. You know, these things of going to the market and then you look for Dettol, you look for geisha. It is not right. But then, sometimes it is okay to use, there is certain herbal soap which has no scent at all, you know, which has no scent at all. But scented materials, some people, due to the bad odor, they try to spray around or use pads that are scented. That is not advisable. You know, pads that are scented, actually anything that is scented during your periods, there is a way it attracts fungi. Fungi is like the infection which causes candida, you know. And also there are certain pads that you might find in certain shops which are not very okay. They'll keep the blood stagnant. They will not absorb the blood, so they'll keep it stagnant, and then in the end the fungi will grow, because fungi grows in a place that is wet. That is why my colleague earlier said that you need to actually wash and change like 3 times a day. But then we are talking about people in communities who may not be able to afford these pads 3 times a day, you know. At least you need to wash all the time. If you are not able to afford the pads 3 times a day, try as much as possible to make sure that you keep yourself clean, to avoid bad odor, because actually one of the things that makes men and boys stigmatize their women and maybe sisters and the girls is the odor. You know, you can there are some women you sit close to and you really know that they're having their menstrual periods, and you didn't feel comfortable sitting close to someone who is smelling, who is having a bad odor. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
So this question goes to you. How about these women who are married? They are married. Is it okay their husbands seeing their blood, or it's not good?
It is not good.
Why?
But for scenarios where, let's say, you've stained, or maybe the blood has gone on your clothes and you don't know, maybe he doesn't know, it's normal. Just go on. He's your husband. Your husband is supposed to be your partner in crime. You get, he should understand that, yeah, it's her month if he sees the blood. But then, like I said, as a responsible woman, keep your pads away from other people seeing them. It is not nice to look at all.
Plus the kids.
Plus the kids. You find, like, for instances, someone who mentioned the infections. If you have kids at home, why would you leave your pads? You know how children are very playful. He or she is going to touch the pad and then put in their mouth. You know that blood, it's just that from your uterus, and the body is cleansing it, right? So it has to come out. So now the baby again comes, they touch it, they put it in their mouth. Then tomorrow, you hear baby Letitia is sick. Then you have to buy medicine. So you can prevent these things.
Okay.
Never let anyone see your pads with blood.
Okay.
Cover it properly. Be responsible enough. And don't make your husband look at you like
uncomfortable.
But there are also some men who want to have sex.
That's what
during
I was going to talk
period.
about. Yeah. By the way, someone has asked that question here. I was going to read it.
How are you going to keep it a secret from me all the time when you're having periods?
you're not
And
supposed to
for
keep
me-
it a
But it's
secret.
not.
As a partner, you are
There are those
partners. You
stubborn
have to
husbands.
communicate.
Exactly.
And periods is something you cannot hide because you'll be there and your husband, I mean, is your husband. You can, like, if he wants to be intimate or have sex with you, if you are in the mood, you should be able to avail yourself. And now you think you can say, okay, cramps, you stop. My husband is coming. No, he will find the cramps there. So you cannot hide it. You have to communicate with your partner. Okay, some people like having sex
Some of them are very stubborn.
when they are having periods. Let my colleague expound more on that.
Yeah, you know, it is very okay for your husband to even see your blood during your menstrual periods. It is very okay. Women, more so the married women, and girls as well, during their periods, they are so emotional due to the different hormonal changes in their bodies. During these times, they want to be cared for. How will I take good care of you as your husband now if I don't know what you're going through? So you open up to your husband. You open up to the people you are actually close to. Because if this person is actually well conversant with the topic, menstruation, now the husband will come back, cook for you. They'll treat you in a certain special way, you know. They'll treat you, yes, exactly.
Our men, okay.
They'll treat you in a certain special way. There are men who cook.
Very
They will
rare.
prepare they'll prepare some warm water for you and then put maybe a cloth and start nursing you. You know, when you have that pain, the cramps that you talked about, you need to use warm water so
Maybe
that
if it is a white man.
No, even if
We have some.
we are also there.
Yeah, like my colleague John J. Okay.
Okay, so that's nice. now there are these people. There is a saying I always hear, Mbu, when a woman is in periods, she's not supposed to go for prayers. Is that thing really right?
I personally think
Even fasting.
It is not right, but we live in a society that has culture, we have norms and all that. But personally, I think no woman should be deprived. Like to go to interact in other places. I mean, it has come. Why would you stop me to go for prayers? I mean, for as long as I'm not moving and the blood is not pouring on the what? In the where everyone is seeing it, why would you really stop me from praying? And sometimes in some areas where we have these people are fixed, their minds are fixed. Let me say, like for example, no offense, the Muslims usually regard that person unclean. So if you can try as much as possible, God is everywhere. You can pray in your closet. Christians always, you can pray at home. And sometimes you don't, in that period, you want as much peace as possible. So if they have stopped you from praying in the mosque, go home and pray. Find your own space and pray. But I really don't think it is right to stop women from going into these public places because of their menstruation. It's not fair at all, because this is first of all something that God has given us. I've not read it anywhere that it is a curse. It isn't a curse.
No, it is actually not right to stop any woman or girl from going to church because they're actually menstruating.
But they are dirty.
You know, there is nowhere you can't go because this process is known. You can reach there and kneel down, pray to God. You mean God will not hear your prayers when you pray when you're menstruating?
Maybe. Maybe. Now how about these waves to pastors?
You know, there are only certain things that you need to actually look out for during this period. Now, like fasting. When a woman is menstruating or a young girl, their immune systems are very low. They can get diseases very fast. They can now diseases like ulcers, the infections we were talking about. Those ones can come in very, very fast because now the immune system is low. Okay, now fasting there I can at least try to agree because it is in terms of nutrition. This person, the woman, needs to actually take a lot of fluids during their menstrual period. They need to eat a lot of things that are going to replace their energy, the energy giving foods, you know, and proteins. You know, so I don't feel like, I actually feel like it is not right for anyone to stop a woman or girl from going anywhere, even school. We have places where young girls are stopped from going to school because they are menstruating, but it is not right. If you have a supportive environment, you have a supportive father providing for you pads, why not go to school?
Just to add on something on the issue of church, I know very well, when I read my Bible, there's a Bible verse that says, what makes a man unclean is what comes out of him. Okay, I believe, me as a Christian, the things that come out of our mouth are what make us unclean. But God is not going to say, these periods I gave you, they are very unclean.
Don't go for prayers.
Don't come and pray to me. Don't come. No, because I have my periods, but that doesn't make me a wicked person. I'm still a Christian. I still believe in one God. But some of the people who are there judging these women, if you hear the words they speak, they are very dirty, more dirty than that period. So it is the things that in your heart that make you unclean. But these outward things, this body, you're going to die one time, and it's going to what? Decay. And you're not going with your periods in heaven. At least I think so. But yeah, you shouldn't judge these women like this. It's really not necessary.
Okay. So Musana is saying, oh, this one is saying, Nansubuga Irina, I love the program. Okay, thank you. Rare guy who can do such to their soulmate. Cooking. Cooking for them, I think. Then Musana is saying, I wish if you can highlight more on the minors or beginners on how to manage and how to get prepared for that period. Thanks.
Okay. How to manage, I think I'll answer that one.
Yeah.
For the minors on how to manage the first time period, right?
Yeah.
Lucky enough, we have, these pads that we buy, the first thing, if you know that you're a young teenager, and you can afford pads, these pads always come with instructions on how to use them. That is for scenarios where you do not have an adult to explain to you. So if you can afford pads, always read the instructions, like look around the package of the pad before you open the whole package, because it usually comes with 7 pads. Read the instructions on how to put them. And if you do not know how to read, please ask someone whom you know you can talk to freely. I'm advising young girls to always find people that they can talk to, who will not judge them, and people who will give you good advice. So always, and if you cannot, I think health facilities offer this information.
Yeah, they do.
Because I don't think any health worker would want to deny a young girl information in regards to menstruation, because it is going to happen to her. So don't be afraid. May I think you can see a medical worker on such issue for just information, not especially in these government faculties. Find time and go, and as a young girl, we need to be sharp. Find time and go to these health facilities and ask one of the health workers. Ask them, how do I use a pad? If you do not know, because some people don't know how to read and you want someone to explain to you in a language that you understand, approach a health worker who will explain to you. Don't fear these people. They are for you, and you have the right. You have the right to have this information.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, hope your question is answered, Mr. Musana. So the reason I think this one, I don't think, Rita is saying, I don't think so. Someone in Uganda can ban pads, but this side of abroad they do so, because we collect them. Then Irina, but why Muslim ladies do not pray during their menstruation? But they talked about that. They've already talked about that. Then Kobsinja Rita in Uganda, it's hard, but some organizations have tried their best to put incinerators in schools and in some communities to help out.
Yes, now organizations like Reproductive Health Uganda. Now, I think most of the people are well versed with this organization, Reproductive Health Uganda. And actually, even when we end this show today, you can still reach out to them, Reproductive Health Uganda, for more information on menstrual health, on different topics on sexual and reproductive health and rights. Because they have a toll-free line, a number where you call, and actually without even any shilling on your phone, without airtime, you just call directly, you ask a question that you want to know. Maybe if your child comes to you and then they're telling you that, Daddy, maybe something is wrong with me, but I don't know what to do. And as a parent, you also have no idea what is going on. You can just call the toll-free line. I'm going to read it for you so that we all have it. Please save it. You might need it. You might not need it now, but you probably need it one day. Okay? It is 0800 0800 299 003. 0800 299 003. So this organization is called Reproductive Health Uganda. In case you have any information you want to know about sexual and reproductive health and rights. If you go to a health facility and maybe you have certain services you want to access at this health facility, but you actually have, you don't know a lot of information about it, and you've just gone there, the health worker said, you have, but you actually were seeking information, enough information to know how to use this, because sometimes you might find a health facility when the health worker is tired, then they have a bad attitude because maybe they have worked on a lot of patients.
Yeah, that's true.
You can just call this toll-free line, talk to them freely without any cost, incurring any costs.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so how do the negative cultural differ girls from equal participation in acquiring education, and how can this be challenged?
Cultural norms. Well, there are various cultural norms in our communities, you know. Things like, we've discussed them during our discussions. Things like a girl maybe should stay home during her menstruation. That is going to stop her from going to school. The girl going to school, and maybe they get their first encounter of menstruation from there, and they don't know what to do because they don't have the information. This girl might actually drop out of school because of the stigma they are going to face from their fellow pupils or students. You know, someone wouldn't want to be laughed at. How can you be a laughing stock at school, wherever you go on camp, on the whole school environment, and people are laughing at you that this one doesn't know what to do. Maybe this one is smelling because of the fact that you're having menstrual, you're undergoing your menstrual cycle, you know. So stigma and discrimination. Also, not having enough information and not accessing products. When we were starting this conversation, we talked about accessing products, privately changing. Now, if a school also...
Someone who asked that question, that's why I wanted you to.
Okay. Now, if you're at school and maybe there is no place you can privately change your pads. If it is a primary school, maybe if people, if maybe the school environment is more of young children, they don't expect anyone to undergo their periods. But we have young girls who get into their periods as early as 8, 9 years.
Yeah,
you know? So we have to be prepared as the community for such things that happen. Let us just create a supportive environment. If everyone gets to know this information, the little people, the few people we have who know this information, let them at least try as much as possible to give it to their fellows out there, to their peers, to their fellow parents, the parents who know it. Talk to your children about this. Because my parents actually didn't.
Most of them fear, but they didn't tell you. But for you, man.
No, but I have to know.
Also, just to add on how these negative cultural norms have affected young girls. You look, for instance, like, because this menstrual period happen monthly. For most people, it happens monthly. For some people, for some cases, some people see their periods maybe after 2 months, after 3 months. We also have such scenarios. So you find that every month a girl is at that period she's weak, but it doesn't make her incapable of studying. It doesn't affect her brains or anything. So for people to say that a girl shouldn't study because they look like they are weak, no, it's not right. Because now we are taking you through menstrual hygiene management. So if you are able to learn how to manage your menstruation periods, that means that you can be able to find a way of controlling, of balancing your books in that period. Because like I said, some girls are not able to stay, like to continue with school, maybe because they have period cramps and all that. We have other preventive methods, because you're not going to stay at home because of periods. In an advancing world, you have to keep going. So try and ask your medical health workers. For example, in my time as a woman, I'll share my experience. I get bad cramps, but then I know I also have to be at school because I'm an empowered young woman. I know I have to study so that I become the woman I dream to be, and so that I can be respected in society. And this is going to happen every month. So you're going to say that every month when it comes, you're going to stay at home, even let's say when there's a test. No, you shouldn't. You should keep moving. So if you have, now I have bad cramps, so I usually carry, I have a 2-liter bottle. I put in hot water. I make sure I drink. And when you feel that you cannot move, rest a bit. If you feel like it is too much, when it is too much pain, my dear girls and women, make sure you consult a doctor, most especially when it is frequent. Ask why are my period cramps paining so bad that I cannot move? If it is too like heavy flow, ask your doctors why is my flow this heavy? Because sometimes you need to attend to it. The earlier I prevent something, the better. So I'm trying to say that a girl with periods should not be stopped from going to school, because much as this happens every day. So you should find a way of managing it and making sure that you are at school, and parents should support their children. This is something that happens monthly. If you know it happens monthly, make sure that if you don't know the information, endeavor to find out. Ask other fellow parents, how do you, because my daughter, if you're having a daughter who's having menstrual cramps and are paining, ask another parent, does your daughter have the same pain? How do you manage it? So in that period, you know that, okay, if she gets her periods, I must have some painkillers. We have Pyroxcam, we have Panadol, stock them at home. Make sure you buy for her a water bottle, that in that period she hydrates as much as she can. And also, young girls should not put their minds onto the pain. Because if you put your mind onto the pain, my dears, you will not go to school. You will not do anything, because they can pain. Stay focused and do not allow your periods to stop you from moving forward. So you must prove to the community that much as I have my periods, I'm showing you that I can do it. But then again, don't over push yourself. When it is too much pain,
you just rest.
You cannot. So let's be that way. Let's support our young girls. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. There is someone complaining here. Johnson, we are really sorry, but hope next time we shall make it up to you. We use Rutoro, please. We are really, really sorry. Then Ritags, We are not English, so use Rutoro so that then you guys menstruation period, it can't allow you to go to school because of abdominal pain.
This is what we have actually been talking about. So, due to also the myths and misconceptions that we have in our communities, because this is the environment you have actually grown up from. You've seen your elder sister was not going to school when they had menstrual periods. The second elder sister was not going. Now for you, the last born, how will you go?
You also do the same.
How will you go, you know? Because of the environment we've actually been growing up from. But my colleague has said it.
You become a believer in that.
If you believe, if you put your mind on the pain, then it will actually pain you. But then if you decide to become an empowered young girl, if you decide to maybe change your lifestyle a bit, start hydrating as much as possible. When you get back home, try to use warm water. I said, and you put it around here. That warm water actually, you kindly don't take painkillers. Don't take painkillers during your menstruation period. Because there is some science that is there.
But ibuprofen helps.
It's
No,
not,
it
it's not
actually helps,
advised
but
to
it is
take
not
all the
advised.
time. If you
You know?
can try as much as possible to avoid painkillers.
Warm water is the best natural method that you can use. You know, because the cramps usually come due to blood being clotted.
Yeah.
Because it is not able to flow out smoothly, you know. But if you put warm water on around this area, the blood will actually it will release and then flow smoothly. If you take warm water, like Sharina has been sharing, the blood will be able to release itself and flow smoothly. So this will actually help you with
Drink
the pain.
as much as possible. Drink. Hey, hot water is good for you. And I don't know the science behind taking hot water with tea leaves, but for me it works. And you make it, you put a lot, that marjan, yeah, you put a lot of it, and because most cases if I take like three cups, no matter how my cramps are, after let's say an hour, I can be okay for the whole other hours.
That's why some ladies outside there they use that those tea leaves, putting it in that hot water, actually to abort.
Yeah.
And is it successful?
Sometimes I've never done it, but
that is unsafe abortion. Now
Yeah,
abortion
it
will
is.
be a discussion for another day.
It's a very broad one.
Oh, okay. So how can men and boys be champions in menstrual hygiene management?
Actually, I'm here. I'm a champion for menstrual hygiene management. You know, a young man, live example on how we can actually be men, but also champions for issues that our sisters, our wives, our girls face, like menstruation. We can advocate for these issues, you know, advocate for them to access the products, menstrual products that we were talking about. If these services are being taxed so much, let us advocate for decreasing maybe the price so that even the poorest person can be able to afford these services, you know, because it has actually been one of the major challenges that young girls are facing in the communities accessing menstrual products, you know, because they're expensive. But if we try to advocate as men and boys to see that maybe these are affordable or provided to the girls in our communities for free, then we are champions for menstrual health. If we also educate our fellow men wherever we are, create awareness amongst our groups. You know, when we are down there taking our malwa, taking our malwa slowly, or beer in the evening with the boys,
The big boys.
you know, with the big boys. Try to bring up such conversations. We are always actually arguing about things that are not going to construct our families, our communities. We are arguing about politics.
But seriously, bringing such a topic when you're only boys,
it is difficult, but you can find
we'll
a
start
way.
talking about their waves.
You can find a way. You can bring it in an interesting way. Talk about how maybe it is fun having sex with a woman when she's having periods. You know? And then you will start from there. Bring it in an interesting way. People will start arguing, you know, when we are there drinking with our fellow men. We are looking for things to talk about. You know? Now if you bring such a topic, it is very important. Also, as men, talking to like creating a support, I already mentioned this, creating a supportive environment for the girls, women, and our wives, in a way that, as a father, what do you do for your daughter to ensure that they move smoothly during their menstruation cycle? Okay? What do you do for them? I learned actually, one of the best practices I learned from someone was they used to send their girl, their daughter, money every month. This man just asked the mother that when are her periods? Then the mother told the father that from this time to this time. So the father would just get money and send to the daughter without even telling her anything when she was at school in boarding.
Yeah, true.
Because we have incidences where girls are sleeping with men to access pads, sex for pads.
Very sad.
You know, we have incidences where girls are doing very nasty things in order to just get these menstrual products. But as a father, as a brother, what are you doing to ensure that at least you see that your sister or your daughter is going through their menstruation safely? So this man would send some money.
They should even befriend them.
You know,
Befriending their daughters.
befriend your daughters as a parent.
But I don't, as a
Because
man,
if you're not friends, they can't come. Dad, I need.
no, like if you know that your children fear you, I really, you should take the initiative. I know if there's a dad who is very tough, take time. Okay, for you just send your daughter surprise money every month.
Exactly.
Let her have that money, and then you boys, if you see a girl has menstruation in public, instead of laughing, why don't you get that car 3K you're going to buy your car beer with and buy for her a pad? Save her instead of laughing. So let us create a support system as men. Fathers, support your young girls with the materials they need in that period. Don't even ask her why. If she asks you why do you want this money, don't ask her, because they'll resort to very bad things to get certain things, and yet it can be avoided.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's nice. So, for those complaining, Toro, these people are not about Toro. We are really, really sorry for today. Think of Singe and Johnson complaining. So I think it's okubahindura wakati ntubaza ha periods za wakazi ngerike yasemerira omukazi kwerinda mukuru yaba muyonjo mu periods kandi tuli mukumalira program ya closing up. Kanihire nimwetegereza mu bitayitebe numanya ngo omukazi asemeri kwerinda ata wakubala periods kike cyasemeri gukora kike yatasemeri gukora. So nibyo bituli ntubazaho hope tuliham kandi mwatwetegereza. So as we are winding up, what advice would you give to young ladies and women outside there?
Well, I'll start by commenting on maybe those who want Lutoro can actually call the toll-free line. They will respond to you in whichever language you want, including Lutoro actually. You know, but the advice I would like to leave with the young people out there, with my fellow young people, don't see me here with big kids and think that I'm not a young person. Well, let us become change agents wherever we are, with the resources we have, with whatever information you have. At least try to seek out for the best information so that you can become a change agent in your community in regards to menstrual health. Let us educate our peers about their menstrual hygiene management. Let us talk to the parents in our communities about how they can actually transfer this information to their children. Let us go out there to schools, to our schools. Most of us are actually still studying. Let us talk to our fellow young people in schools, because when they are teaching in school, as I said earlier, they are going to tell you how menstruation happens. But how do you interact with it when you come back here in the community? How do you support this young girl who has interfaced with menstruation her first time? You know, Sharina talked about us carrying pads. Even the men should do that. You know, it is very difficult.
It's not easy.
It is very difficult. But we should, in order to create a change. You know, when we create a change from wherever we are, it will create greater impact at the end of the day. Thank you.
Okay, that's nice. So, Sharina?
Mine goes out to the young girls. Menstruation period should not stop you from going for your dreams. Be assertive. I mean, when I say assertive, I mean push for what you want. And you have to prove to the community that menstruation is not a disability. It is very normal, and embrace it. Young men and young boys and men, even our fathers out there, please create a supportive system, supportive community for these young girls. And the teachers in schools, please be able to embrace these young girls and give them more information on a one-on-one. Like, let's say after you discussing a topic on reproduction, you can put it out there and tell your young female students that in case you want to know more, approach me. And schools should also have that provision where there is a space where anyone can access this information. Like, let us have a health worker in every school to be able to disseminate, to give out this information to these young girls in case they have questions. That's all. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, so I think Rita Hags is saying that thanks for the program. Okay, you're welcome. Those complaining, Toro.
I'm from West Nile. I know Alur. So, and this is like my second time to be in Fort Portal. Kindly pardon me. Maybe next time I'll come when I know something. My apologies, our viewers.
Okay, thank you. So mwahura bambia ya actually yasabanekeganyira bukuba takumanya rulimi rwako n'umuteja kurangu twakoze urujungu throughout mukagamba kandi banu at least if they were somehow mixing it would be better. Baitu kandi kiri habo kugamba ngo habwa abagenyi banga bakirocha hati tibamanyero toro murabaganyira akuba no manyo Ruganda rulihona. Most of the people, for them, they hear Luganda. So Luganda is not like Rutoro. So Gamba, Bagana bako so Luganda. Either for us here, we are using English. So for today, let me hope that you've learned. So let me wish you a blessed night.